Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video. And today I am going to be giving my initial thoughts on Moleman. So I was granted temporary access to Moleman through the content creator program. So thanks Kabam. And so these are just kind of my initial thoughts on Moleman. Now these could change the more I play with him, but these are kind of what I feel so far. So before I get into my thoughts, let's go ahead and take a look at Moleman's abilities. So his signature ability is Giganto Jr.'s Revenge, and so he gains up to X critical damage rating based on missing health and gains up to X attack rating while unstoppable based on missing health. So he definitely needs to be awakened and he definitely needs to be high sig. He's kind of like a mix of Captain Sparkles, and I'll get into why in a minute with that, Agent Venom, and OG Hulk. Now, we all know OG Hulk, the lower in health he gets, the harder he hits, and that's kind of how it is with Giganto Jr.'s, or excuse me, with Moleman. Well, Giganto Jr. is with him. So, okay, and so passive, he is shock immune, which is always good. Now, while Frenzy is not active and Moleman is below 5 monster masses, Moleman heightened sense allow him to he basically has ability or true accuracy, excuse me. So if he has no frenzy and he is below 5 monster mass, he will stop evade and he will ignore auto block. So that's kind of nice, but the frenzy is where it's at for the damage. So you're kind of trading here utility for damage, and you have champs, which some of the other content creators have pointed out, and I agree with, you have champs like Nick who can still maintain that true accuracy while their damage is, or excuse me, while their health is low, but their damage still remains, you know, pretty decent. Well, if it's Nick, it's pretty good, right? All right, critical hits. 100% chance to inflict a bleed, dealing X damage over 8 seconds. Now, his bleed is okay. It's not terrible. It's nowhere near what Nick Fury is, or not even close to Domino. So his bleed's okay. It's kind of one of the more mediocre ones. Now you can stack them, but we'll get into that in a minute. And then he also deals burst of energy damage if the opponent is suffering from a shock debuff, and you put a shock debuff on your opponent from launching the special one. Now when you launch the special one, that also gives you monster mass, which allows you, once you build up monster mass, that helps you to go into frenzy, which helps you, you know, put out the massive damage. Okay, monster mass. Speaking of, each monster mass grants X physical resistance. Blocking basic attacks grants an unstoppable buff for 0.85 seconds. So the way you get unstoppable is you have to block an attack, but you can't parry. If you parry, you won't get unstoppable. So kind of keep that in mind, because Moleman is definitely one of those champs that has a lot going on, and you really need to pay attention to what you are doing. Okay. Gain 75% chance to resist a block break while at at least one monster mass is active. Now, Moleman really doesn't have the greatest block proficiency. It's not as bad as Mojo's, but I feel like the way that you need to play this guy, it should be better. Okay, Frenzy. Now, I talked about this earlier. When above 5 monster mass, activating an unstoppable effect activates Frenzy. So if you go to parry, but you miss the parry, but you still block, and you have 5 monster masses up, then you will go into Frenzy. Now, Frenzy is where the damage is. You get more damage off of the Frenzy, off your special attacks. But this can be kind of tricky, right? Because you don't want to just have 5 up. You want to have the max and have it automatically convert. So if you have 15 monster mass charges, it automatically converts to a frenzy. Much like Captain Sparkle's binary charges, right? When she has 25, she automatically enters binary ignition. Now you can keep them up, the frenzy up, the same way you keep up Captain Sparkle's, by landing your heavy. Okay. So heavy attacks gain 1 monster mass. If Frenzious, this attack has up to X attack rating based on missing health. So the lower in health you get, the harder he's gonna hit. All right, special attack 1, I already talked about that. So special attack 2, this is where he does a lot of damage if the frenzy is up. So the frenzy is up, he's got low health, this attack will be unblockable, and it pauses the unstoppable. So that's always good. And then the special attack 3, gain 10 monster mass and become frenzied if not on cooldown. So if you want to get to frenzied, launch your special 3, but then you're going to have to keep launching your heavies once you exit the special 3 in order to maintain those frenzy charges in order to get up to your special 2 to launch it. So it's similar to Captain Sparkles, but with Captain Sparkles, if you're binary and you're at 25 charges, then you're indestructible. So this is kind of where the thing lies. Okay, so let's take a look at some footage that I recorded of Moleman and Giganto Jr. since he is with him at all times. So I took him into variant 2 here. Carnage has, I forget what he has. It's breakthrough and power gain. So nothing terrible. Now, he does shrug debuffs. So I do run suicides, as most of you know. And as you can see, he shrugged them, but he only shrugs them when he's not in frenzy. So if he's in frenzy, he will not shrug the debuffs. So kind of keep that in mind if you're thinking of bringing him along a biohazard path, because if you're thinking about bringing him along a biohazard path, you're not going to want to go into frenzy mode, right? You're not going to want to do that, because if you do that, you're going to take all that damage and it is going to kill you. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things. The shrugging of the debuffs is nice if you run suicides, but it can be kind of tricky if you're trying to stay out of frenzy mode, but you want to be in frenzy mode, because that is where the damage comes from. So, and I don't like the fact that, you know, like I said before about the true accuracy, right? Once you get past 5 mole mass, then, you know, you lose that true accuracy. So if you're going along the likes of like Mcoc or Iron Man Infinity War with those tricky auto blocks, even Nova, you know, he's got that auto block. Darkhawk, he has that auto block as well. It can be kind of tricky. And I kind of feel like his play style, similar to Mojo's, is a bit stressful, right? Like there's a lot going on. You've got to kind of watch what you're doing. So you can see here, I'm trying to get to the frenzy mode to hit the 15 charges in order to go to frenzy, but I'm gonna end up taking this Carnage down before I can. So you can see his bleed damage is okay, the shock damage is okay. It's nothing to kind of like blink an eye at. And the thing too is this guy really doesn't have that great of block proficiency. So I know I mentioned that earlier. So yeah, you want to have him at low health, but I would have liked to have seen something of, you know, Kabam could have added something when you get to like 20% health or something like that. He gets added block proficiency, something like that. I think that would have been more beneficial, because it gets pretty stressful when you're getting low in health and you're trying to build those monster mash, I did it, monster mass charges up. And so it's really tough. Plus once you get into frenzy, the frenzy charges expire very quickly. So you can really mess up and go into frenzy mode before you want to launch your special 2, and then it's just wasted and you're trying to get back up to it, but you're at such low health that there's no getting back up to it, and you're probably gonna, you know, KO. So he's kind of very stressful to play. And then like, I feel like this he's got kind of a high risk, high reward play style, but there are better champs who have the high risk, high reward play style. So, you know, you've got, like I said before, Nick Fury. When Nick Fury, when his LMD is destroyed and you degenerate down, his damage goes up. And yeah, I understand that Moleman's damage goes up as well, but his high risk, high reward isn't as good as Nick Fury's high risk, high reward. So if it comes down to picking a skill champ who's going to be a bleeder and can do the damage, for me, I'm going to pick Nick Fury. I may even pick Blade over him at this point in time. So now, there's been some interesting comparisons between him and Corvus, and I get it, the guaranteed crits, but you know, Ghost has that as well, and I don't really see it. I'm having a hard time seeing that comparison. Maybe I'm missing something, which could very well be, right? Like, this is my first day playing with him. I've literally only had him for about 3.5 hours at the time of this recording, so I'm sure I missed something, but he's just got he's got a lot going on, and he's maybe not a champion for me that I would like to play, but he's definitely an interesting champ. He's fun. I expected him to be a bit clunky to play, but he's really not. He's actually kind of smooth now. He's not like as smooth as Mojo was, which I expected Mojo to be very clunky, but he wasn't. But as far, like, if I were to compare the two, I would say Mojo would be the better champ than Moleman, but that's just my opinion. You might have a different one, and that's totally okay, right? Right. So what would I rank Moleman? Well, based on the fact that he's really only immune to shock, which is good. I do like that. There's not many champs that are immune to shock, so I do like that. But I feel like his block proficiency is pretty low, and just like his playstyle, like I said, the high risk, high reward, there are champs that do that better. So I feel like, based on everything that I have said, I would rate Moleman 4.5 candies out of 10. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that I am missing something with Moleman? I mean, I very well could, right? He's still pretty new. Do you guys enjoy playing Moleman? Do you think he is worth the high risk, high reward? Or do you feel like there are better champs out there that do the same playstyle? Do you think he is better, or do you think Mojo is better? Let me know in the comments below, and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and hit me up in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye.